So Sam Darnold is now a Carolina Panther. That's pretty interesting. It's a little surprising. What's really more surprising is how much Carolina gave up for him. It seems like it's a lot just for a guy who I think is really, I feel like they're just taking a flyer on him. The Jets are getting just a sixth rounder this year, but they're going to get a second and a fourth rounder in 2022. So maybe Carolina is just banking on the fact that they'll be better next year, and maybe that's their hope. But I don't know. It's a lot to give up for a guy who, listen, I'm not going to say he's completely a bust. There still is some hope there, but he definitely has his issues as well. We can start off with talking about this play because I think this one will maybe show a little bit of I think it's fair to say that you, at least with the Carolina Panthers, if Sam Darnold is a starter, which to me still is an F, I think there still is a very real chance Carolina drafts somebody. But if they decide to go with Darnold, I think that one thing we could potentially just see is that he's in a better situation. He won't throw as many interceptions in the sense of, he's not trying to completely make something happen out of nothing. And on this play, it's a cover one man coverage play. And the reality is, pretty much all season long, the Jets were really struggling with man coverage. They didn't have a receiver who could beat man coverage. They didn't have a consistent running game that could get guys out of man coverage. And they also didn't have a great offensive line. So, there's no doubt Darnold was in an awful situation. When you can't get a consistent running game, no one's getting open, and the line can't block, you are going to look worse. But even so, watch this play. So once this play starts, you see Darnold take the snap, and there's immediate pressure, so he has to get outside the pocket, which he does well. He can move. He's certainly an athlete, so he has that going for him. But at this point, really, he has to throw the ball away here. I mean, you look downfield, and it's double coverage, and there's really no reason why he should throw this football. It's a 3rd down and 8, so I think he just doesn't want to give up on the play. But you're at the 32-yard line. You're in field goal range right here, and you're only down 10 points. So actually getting a field goal would be pretty huge. I mean, that makes it a 7-point game about midway through the third quarter, which would be key. Instead, he just chucks this one, and it's an easy interception, and that's just a mistake. I mean, there's no denying it. So the hope would be, hey, you're not putting him in these weird situations where he's trying to make stuff happen if you're actually running an offense that can get guys open without having to, him to try to pull a rabbit out of his hat and having it fail miserably. But at the same time, it still does go to show a little bit of what's kind of always been his issue, even back in college, which is decision making, which, again, that's something you can fix. Maybe Carolina does plan on fixing it. I actually made a film study a little bit ago about Darnold, kind of talking about how he still plays like a rookie in a lot of ways. I recommend checking that one out because that could, also sort of just show what I mean exactly. But there's also plays like this. It's not all just things going wrong and him not being able to put out the fire. Sometimes it's him setting himself on fire. This is an example. It's going to be a cover one blitz. You see the route on the screen that he's going to look towards, and this route isn't going to get open. Like as you see, doesn't work out at all. No separation. This is not a throw that Darnold should make. For some reason, Darnold still wants to make this throw, and that's kind of my thing. Is yes, these are some bad situations, but you know what? There were other routes that he could have potentially thrown to. There's one towards the bottom of the screen that was open. Admittedly, it's always easy to watch the tape and say, oh, that was open. It's a lot more difficult to do that in real time. But no matter what, he shouldn't be making this throw right here. He does anyways. It gets intercepted really easily. I mean, it's just a dumb decision. And that's kind of my thing, is you do get that to some degree. And there's a reason why the New York Jets are giving up on him, and it's because of his rough decisions. But now let's flip things over a little bit and talk about Carolina and their offense, because I think that's the flip side. Is I think Carolina is going to sit here and say, well, okay, Darnold maybe not the best, but we trust that we can get him to not make those dumb decisions. He does still have arm talent. He is still an athlete. I'd like him to be a little bit more accurate, but his arm talent's still good. He is still athletic, and if you give him another shot, maybe you can just get the mental stuff squared away. So like on this play, what you're going to see is that this is going to be a cover 2 zone that the Saints are going up against. And early on, especially for New Orleans, sort of in, even to the midway point, they were really struggling sometimes when they were playing their cover 2 that they like to play, of sort of letting guys get past them. They weren't doing the best job of communicating, and so Carolina is going to take advantage of that on this play. They have 2 receivers who are running routes that really it's designed to pick on the safety. You have one receiver who's going to run just a little bit underneath the safety, and another one who runs deep, and you basically just throw to wherever the safety isn't. If the safety stays deep, which he probably will, you throw underneath. If he goes underneath, then you throw deep. Pretty simple. And watch, once this play starts, I mean, you do notice that, so the safety, he's starting to run in, which is great. Now for Carolina, you go deep with this one, and that's what Bridgewater is going to do. Teddy does make this throw, and they are able to get a touchdown on this one. So it's an offense that doesn't necessarily require the best quarterback play sometimes. Sometimes you just have to be decent and hit the wide open guy or just make a read. So I think that that's maybe something they're hoping for with Darnold, because he does have a big arm, that they're just hoping that maybe they can do stuff like that with him. I could easily see that being the case. And one more thing that just shocked me when I saw when I looked it up is that Sam Darnold's only 23. I mean, he turns 24 in June, so 2 months he's going to turn 24. But still, it's crazy that he's only 23. He seems way older. I mean, there's some guys in the draft that are as old as he is, like Jamie Newman and Felipe Franks. Those guys are both 23 also. And back to Teddy for a second, there were some serious issues with him. Like, he was not a superstar out there. I think that a lot of people didn't watch Carolina games. There is real reasons why you have to move on from him. Like, on this one, it's going to be a screen pass, so this should be an easy play. And watch, once this play starts, you notice that the back is just now getting out, a little bit late in getting out, admittedly, but still, I mean, this is the throw that Bridgewater has to make. I know that there's I believe it's Sue who's kind of in the way, which makes it a little bit more of a difficult play, and you do have to get rid of it now because it'll be, guys are starting to block, so you got to get rid of the ball quickly. But you have to make this throw. However, Bridgewater just overthrows it. It's an interception. Maybe the hope is that Sam Darnold won't make mistakes like that. He won't miss those throws. I don't know if that's true or not. He will certainly miss some throws from time to time. So to me, it does feel a little bit like I guess I don't fully understand it. I'm a little bit confused, just me personally. But hey, it's not an awful flyer. I think that they gave up a little bit too much. But at the same time, I still said, for me, I would have rather just given up a 4th round pick. But I still would have done that because there is potential with Darnold. I just personally feel like I'd much rather spend a 2nd round pick on Kellen Mond if he ends up being available there than trading a 2nd round pick along with a 4th and a 6th for a guy that, has played in the NFL for 3 years and hasn't looked great in it. And it's very, very rare for a player to completely turn it around in their 4th year in the NFL. It almost never happens. But again, he did enter the league young, so maybe there's something there. I don't know. It's interesting. It's not the worst flyer in the world. Gave up a little bit too much, I think, but not the end of the world. And if it works out, then no amount is too much. So, yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.